jump on the bandwagon.
Let's get this money. Let's get these views.
iDubbbz did it.
Have you seen it? He does tier lists.
If you're a bit confused what this video is all about, it's a tier list. I get enamored with tier list.
Would you like to experience virtual reality?
That's good.
Are you tired of boring normal 2D games? Do you want to show up those PC Master Race minis? Then boy do I have the product for you. Get yours today at your local Walmart for only 2 low payments of $149.99. The True VR Gaming Headset. Alright, nah, in all seriousness, let's get down to business. The PSVR isn't top shelf, but it's still an affordable option for the less fortunate console gamers. It boasts a whopping 120 Hz, but not exactly, that's just the max. Essentially, the headset operates at different refresh rates for each game, but the native refresh rate is only about 60. They use a certain side processing to warp frames into looking like 90 or 120, but it isn't a true refresh rate, so take that with a grain of salt. Although the refresh rate might not be perfect, it still has an OLED panel with a 960 by 1080 per eye resolution. It also has 100 degrees field of view with a built-in microphone and rechargeable controllers. However, there are a couple problems. They decided to only go with the fixed IPD, and tracking for the headset is sold separately. So sure, you don't have to wall mount anything like most VR getups, but that does mean you have to shell out another 50 bucks. Still, even if Sony didn't hit all the marks with this one, it is an affordable option at only $299.99, making it the cheapest on this list. And if you can't afford one, then may I recommend a Google Cardboard. Now that we've bullied all the casual gamers, it's time to talk about the real tech. The Valve Index is probably one of, if not the best headset available currently. You're probably wondering, well, if it's so good, then why is it in our C tier? Well, let's get right on down to it, son.
Oh, hell yeah, brother, yeet.
Quite possibly the most notable feature of the Index has to be the touch controllers allowing you to have independent access of each finger. This makes the virtual world a lot more immersive and helps you be a bit of a ladies' man in, certain games. However, with the drawback of slightly raunchy controls in some games, this feature can be more of a nuisance at times. Other key features that make the Index stand out would be the higher refresh rate of about 144 Hz or the wider viewing angle of 130 degrees, along with a higher resolution of 1440 by 1600 per eye, as well as a whole host of other specs. So why again is it so low on the list if it has all that? To put it simply, it's so grand. Yeah, and unless you're one of those guys that has a couple Gucci belts lying around that you don't even use anymore, this product ain't for you. There also aren't too many games at the moment that can really utilize the new touch controllers very well besides VR Chat. The only real exception would be Boneworks, which should be available on Steam shortly, so keep an eye out for that. Obviously, this isn't for the average consumer, but it definitely deserves credit for being at the top in terms of specs. So if you have an extra G lying around that you just don't know what to do with, well then feel free to check out the link in the description. Ah yes, the average Joe VR headsets, old reliable middle of the pack. Kind of like that 5th girl that messaged you on Tinder. Not that special, but hey, you're not complaining. The Rift S's... The Rift's specs, respectively, are all somewhere in between our last two headsets. Not exactly anything outstanding, but also nothing that falls below par. For the most part, I'd say this headset is recommended mostly for the lower end of mid-range PCs, unlike the Index, which is for the higher end enthusiasts. Yeah, you know who you are. I see you over there downloading more RAM. Honestly, there isn't too much extra to say about this one that I haven't already. It's a solid headset marketed towards your somewhat average gamers, making this a pretty common buy for most people and a good option on this list. Have you ever wanted to piss off an Oculus user? Tell them the Vive controllers are better. Call them wimps for not being able to complete that crazy Beat Saber song on Expert+++ with heavy meat sticks in their hands. Feel like an absolute Chad alpha male with your giant manly handbrakes for controllers and get swole while reaping those fat gains at the same time. That'll show 'em. In reality, the Rift and Vive are really close as far as specs go, but we had to put the Vive on top for this list. Only real reason being a couple of small features such as wireless and full body tracking capabilities. Although you have to spend more to use those extras, they still are options that the Rift does not have. So yeah, sue me, Oculus fanboys. Now,
Yeah, boy.
have you ever wanted to piss off a Vive user? Have them put on a quest and ask them to spin in a circle? Call them cavemen for flailing around with those clubs that they call controllers. Don't be like those primitive troglodytes. You're evolved, sophisticated Homo sapiens. Act like them. I know that most of you would probably disagree on putting the quest in the S tier, but before you bring out the pitchforks and burn me at the stake, just hear me out. Yeah, I was the same when I first heard about the quest and was skeptical myself, but I bet the majority of you haven't even tried one and probably think the same. After playing around with it for a while and doing my research, it's actually far better than expected. Tracking isn't bad and rendering is fairly smooth, and there are no wires, so you can pack and play just about anywhere. Sure, it's not perfect for certain games, and it doesn't have the best built-in audio, but there are some very unique features that set the Quest apart from the rest. A new feature in beta right now is the Oculus Link, allowing you to connect the Quest to a PC, which removes the restriction of games. It can also improve quality and speed of whatever is being displayed due to the rendering being done on the PC. Currently, the official Link cable from Oculus will be released later, but if you wish to try it out early, all you need is a high quality USB 3 cable with some length. And now the most intriguing development in VR so far is the Oculus Quest hand tracking, which lets you ditch the controllers entirely. Due to the Quest's inside-out tracking, you are now able to track your hands freely and use them how you would think VR was intended. Yes, it might be a neat trick and fun to use, but for games it doesn't have that much use without ways to move or interact in the VR world. However, for the price and ease of access, this makes the Quest by far the most optimal choice for the average consumer, and therefore our S tier choice on this list. Oh, get over it, you nerds. Alright guys, I apologize if the video isn't perfect. This is our first time, but improvements are already in the works for the future. It took a lot of work for us to get all this done, and we appreciate anyone that's watching this to the end. If you would like to see a more in-depth list of specs or request a video, you can do that both on our website, which is in the description, along with everything else we reviewed today. Any support you can show by sharing, liking, or subscribing for more in the future would be much appreciated, because we will be doing a giveaway at 1,000 subs. Also, our next video will be going over our picks for VR games, so stick around for that soon. So this is the part where I say something cringy for the outro, right?